Good morning. It's 8 a.m. thereabouts here in Central Time in Chicago, in the States. If you are interested in the Tao Te Ching, this is where you want to be. This is Tao of the Day here on Wisdom. The Tao of the Day is what I offer weekday mornings on Wisdom here. And what it is I so I have 21 years clean and sober, and although that doesn't define me in any way, really, I do like to just kind of put that out because it's an important aspect of who I am. It's not only who I am. I don't only talk about recovery. I'm not really not even interested in talking too much about sobriety at all. But I do want, and I was just talking to Dr. Rao here on Wisdom, and if anybody is here and wants to follow him, I would definitely suggest that. Dr. Rao does some really great stuff. He was doing a talk on what does it mean to be your true self, something of that nature. I don't know what the actual title of the talk was, but that is a really beautiful question. And it's a question that I'm always asking when I do my recover yourself work. When I talk about recovering yourself, I want to talk about recovering your true self, your whole self. Not the self you think you are, not the self that other people want you to be, not the self that has been living under the influence of your parents and jobs, commerce and commercialism and all of that kind of stuff. But I want you. I want to know who you are and what is your place here in the world, and what are you here to accomplish. And the Tao Te Ching, translates to the canon of reason, and I offer you the Tao every day, Monday through Friday, every weekday. And how I do that is I ask you to come up and pick a number between 1 and 81. So the Tao is an ancient text of 81 verses, and each verse is fairly short. You'll have 15 minutes for us to talk, and we'll read through the Tao and then go through it line by line and see how that relates to the life that you're leading, and how that might offer some insight as to how you do what you do. And I referenced the fact that I have 21 years clean and sober because the Tao is a huge part of who I am and what I do. I love the way the Tao kind of presents the world, and presents how we should be living in it. And so, like, I look at the translation of the Tao Te Ching as being the canon of reason. This is the root of living a reasonable life. And so, if you want to live a reasonable life and you want to recover your whole self, well, this is a good place to start. And so, if you have a number between 1 and 81 that's burning a hole in your chest, let me know, and we can talk about that chapter of the Tao. In the meantime, before anyone, if nobody's gonna jump on right now and give me a number between 1 and 81, I'll go ahead and pick one. 65 seems like a good place to start for today. I also like to take notes so I remember. It's hard to always remember what especially if we get a number of people joining me. Sometimes I don't remember which ones they picked, and it's easier for me to take notes than go back and listen through. So here's some crinkling of paper, and then once I get this turned over, yeah, okay. So then we can start with 65. 65. So how's everybody doing today? Hopefully you're doing well. Here we go with 65. The ancient masters didn't try to educate the people, but kindly taught them to not know. Man, I wish I can have everybody not know some stuff. Isn't that nice? Like, the ancient masters didn't try to educate people, but kindly taught them to not know. When they think they know the answer, people are difficult to guide. When they know that they don't know, people can find their own way. If you want to learn how to govern, avoid being clever or rich, the simplest pattern is the clearest. Content with an ordinary life, you can show all people the way back to their own true nature. And this is one of the key things. So that's it for 65, right? So these are pretty short. So if you're new to the Tao, these are pretty short. And this idea that content with an ordinary life, you can show people the way back to their true natures. All of this kind of stuff that we get inundated with every day to try and make our lives better and try and make our lives mean more, and everybody trying to tell you that, like, you are you're better than other people, and it's good to feel that way. It feels good sometimes, but it's not real. Right? We aren't better than anybody else, and what we're doing right now is the most important thing that we're doing. And so The more we know about what other people are doing, the more we desire to be doing something else. Right? This is where FOMO comes in, right? This chapter could be like titled 65 FOMO. um, but and for those of you who don't know, I can't believe that anybody wouldn't. But FOMO is the fear of missing out. This idea that we have these concepts of where we're going and what we want to be doing. So I'm going to go ahead and start going through this line by line. If you have a number between 1 and 81 you want to share and you want to read with me, I would very I would love to sit down and read a Tao with you and give you your Tao for the day. It's a pleasure to be doing this, and I really love sharing this. So if you have a number between 1 and 81, definitely come up, and then we can talk about your Tao for the day. Mine was 65. And we're going to start going through this line by line. And what it starts with is this: the ancient masters didn't try to educate the people, but kindly taught them to not know. So, how does one do that? How do you kindly teach someone to not know? And I think I do this a lot. I think I was actually talking. There's going to be an app that's going to be launching. It's called the Sober app, and this app is going to be launching in the next couple days, weeks, whatever. It's in February sometime. And they called me, and we had a conversation. And when they were talking about their app, and they were talking about sobriety, they were talking about like people who don't drink. And I had to just kind of put out well, even if they want to drink, like just because somebody wants to drink doesn't mean that they should be excluded from your app because your app is called the Sober app, and because you are sober. This concept of like kindly teaching someone to not know is a real thing. We in this world, in the manifestation of the world that we have created, like we like being the teachers. We want to be, like a lot of people call themselves advice gurus, and like all of this sort of like big, like I'm a coach and I'm an advice guru and I do all of this stuff to help people know. Well, me personally, I want to help people not know. Because when you don't know, you follow your own path. And then you're able, like, I'm a harm reductionist. So if none of you know what that is, it just means like I work really hard to reduce harm done to other people. And harm looks differently from moment to moment. And at one level, you might say, well, if we allow people to use drugs, that is harmful. But then I say, well, if you know that people are going to use drugs and don't offer them free or at least clean works, i.e., syringes and stuff, um, then you're doing harm, right? Like yes, legality could maybe somehow stop harm, but usually it doesn't. Right? It's not really a deterrent for those that are struggling with addiction, and we know that. So, um, so when I look here, it's like the ancient masters didn't try to educate people, but kindly taught people to not know. If you didn't know, if you didn't think you knew, you wouldn't be so hell bent to stop people from using, stop people from getting access to syringes, right? Because if you, because your the first thought that comes to your head is, well, just don't do it. And the way that we can stop people from doing it is giving them access to syringes. That could be illegal. And there was a time where having a syringe, having a needle was illegal. And so when you can kindly teach those lawmakers to not know and to just be in a place of not thinking that you know, then you will be more loving. You will cause less harm. And that's why not knowing is so big. When you think you know something, you immediately start to get on your fucking haunches and tell people what's right and what's wrong and all this stuff. But if you can get to a place where you don't know, then you're open to hearing, you're open to receiving more information. Once again, this is Tao of the Day. And if you have a number between 1 and 81 and want to talk about that number, right? We change subjects. Like, this is my number. I'm covering 65 right now, and 65 is talking about, fear of missing out, more or less. And I'm going through and talking about it, going through it line by line. If you have a number between 1 and 81 you wanna walk through with me, definitely come on up. When they think that they know the answer, people are difficult to guide, right? Like, let's go back to the lawmakers that made syringes and needles like illegal. Like, would you ever, like, how long has it taken to get them to offer needle exchange, offer help for those who are hurting? It's taken decades. And why? Because they thought they knew the answer, and so they're difficult to guide. They're difficult to get them. I was talking, like I mentioned, that sober app. I was, just in talking to them, getting them to open up to the idea that they don't know, offered them a window to an idea that they didn't currently have. Where before they were hearing over and over and over and over again from so many sober people about what sobriety means. Well, I don't, personally don't care about sobriety. I say sobriety is just a beverage choice. It means nothing. Like, yes, you can have a sober date, and that means a lot to you personally, but it means nothing to the world, and it means nothing to, necessarily doesn't mean a whole lot to your mental state. What means a lot to your mental state is how you are recovering yourself, how you can position yourself into a place of not knowing. The thing is when we drink, we end up knowing more, right? We end up thinking we know the right answer. We end up thinking we are right because, we give up inhibitions. And so those inhibitions may be the things that are causing us to question who we are and what we're doing. When they know that they don't know, people can find their own way. And this is so important. You know, if you don't know and are looking for the right answer, that's one thing. But if you don't know and are cool with that, then you find your own way. You find your own way through love and acceptance and peace. April is going to join me. I heard April jump on Dr. Rao's talk after I did, so I would love to see what she has. So we'll come back to 65. April, how are you doing?
Peace, Martin. I'm flowing into peace and flowing into life. How are you?
Oh, that's beautiful to hear. I am doing beautiful as well. Like, I am so happy. So are you new to wisdom? Because we haven't interacted before.
Oh my gosh, Martin. I'm new to wisdom. I had a friend on Clubhouse because I have rooms on Clubhouse and they were like, April, you really need to try the wisdom. So I did, I got it set up and I did a couple of talks, but I wasn't really familiar with it. So I had my first one yesterday and I had guests on, but I didn't know what I was doing. So yes,
That's all
I
right.
am new.
That is not knowing what you're doing. That's exactly what I was reading in 65. Just don't know and be cool with it. Just be cool with not knowing, man. Like,
Exactly, Martin. I was smiling yesterday when I had guests on because I was like, you know what? It's okay that I don't know what's going on and all of this. I'm happy with the fact that I know that I don't know.
yes, beautiful. So this is Tao of the Day. And I don't know if you heard me speak, but the Tao Te Ching, are you familiar with it?
Not too familiar with it, Martin.
Okay, it's an ancient text written about 600 BC. It consists of 81 verses. And what I ask my guests is to pick a number, any number, between 1 and 81, and then we'll read through that chapter of the Tao together.
Awesome. Now you got me very curious, Martin, because I've been looking it up since I started listening to you talk, and I'm like, yes, because I see it all the time, but I never really explored it. But anyway, number for me is 44.
44. Okay, this is a beautiful chapter, and we're gonna talk. I'm gonna read it through once, and then I'm gonna get your kind of like overview of what you think, and then we'll go through it line by line. Sounds good?
Yes.
Okay. Fame or integrity? Which is more important? Money or happiness? Which is more valuable? Success or failure? Which is more destructive? If you look to others for fulfillment, you will never be truly fulfilled. If your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself. Be content be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you.
Mm.
Thoughts?
I will tell you, Martin's first thought that came to mind is you have everything you need.
Yes.
And oftentimes we get caught up, we as a people, as a collective, we get caught up in, okay, well, I need money to be happy. I need money to do this. And, I need to make sure that, I'm living this type of lifestyle so people will respect me and see me this way. These are the thoughts that are coming up for me as I was listening to you read.
Mm-hmm,
And I'm
mm-hmm,
thinking to myself, yeah, but does that truly make you happy?
mm-hmm.
Are you genuinely happy? Are you fulfilled? Does that make your heart and your soul happy? For me, when I think about that whole thought and that concept of you have everything you need, I do, because I'm guided and protected,
Yes.
right? So I don't worry as much as I used to before. Before I was wondering, okay, how am I going to do this as far as paying the bills? And, I don't have my friends anymore, the ones that I used to connect with, because now I'm on my spiritual path and delving deeper into my spiritual path. What am I going to do? I don't want them to be upset and all of that. And honestly, Martin, all of that was putting me in a low vibration. And for me, what I realized, my self realization, is that that's not making me happy.
Mm,
And when we think about the whole concept of being in a lower vibration, we lower the vibration, then our health is compromised. Physical
mm-hmm.
health, mental health,
Yeah.
emotional health, all of that is compromised by being in that low vibration. And
Right.
so I made the choice and I said, I don't want to be in that. I don't want to be in that vibration. I don't want to consume myself with worrying about this and worrying about that. And, I had the appearance of being happy, but was I
Mm,
truly happy? And this is where we have to go in and do the inner work. You have to
yeah.
go within and sit with self. So
Yeah.
important. So important.
Let's go through this. I think you're right on all that, and I think that I think that we're gonna unveil a little bit more as we go through this. So it starts with these three initial pairs, and how he expresses these, and this is how it's expressed. Let's just put it that way: fame or integrity, which is more important? How beautiful, right? Like, because
Mm,
so much of us today, especially in the Western world, like, fame is so important. Like, we want people to advertise with us so we can make money, and so we can like have that like, and we have like the Kardashians and all of these things, and like fame, just for fame's sake, has become important somehow. But
mhm.
when we look at this first line, fame or integrity, which is more important? It's very clear that it's not fame.
Very clear.
You know,
For me, I think about, yeah, but I want to maintain the integrity of my soul.
that's right. That's right. And how many people do we look out that have sold their integrity for fame?
Mm, mm,
I look at people that I have so much respect for, and then I see them in a Cheetos ad or an insurance ad, and I'm like, whoa, like, is that what your is that where your integrity is? To be in an ad? Like, I understand everybody needs money, but do we really? Like, do we need it to that degree? Like,
mhm.
that you can put your whole career, in to support an insurance company? So that's a big question. Then we have money or happiness. Which is more valuable? Look at how he asked that, right? Like, which is more valuable, happiness or money?
Mm. Yeah, and when I think about happiness, I was just talking about the Sanskrit word ananda, bliss, with
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Rao, and I was like, yeah, but okay, I could have all the money in the world, and I know people that are very wealthy as far as money is
Yeah,
concerned, but in talking with them, they are miserable.
yeah. So it's like really
So,
understanding what value means.
mhm,
Like, it's not just this fiduciary thing, and it's not just financial.
mhm.
And then
And
this
it,
this Go on, please.
I was going to say when you were just saying that, Mark. So, and then I'm going back to the other pair, fame or integrity. I value my integrity. When I put that high value on my integrity, I'm happier
Right.
because I'm living with my integrity. So go ahead.
Yeah. And then this last pairing is success or failure. Now, this is beautiful because the question is, which is more destructive?
Mm,
Right? Like, how many famous people that we look out at the world right now are just destroying it?
hmm
Like, failure? Failure isn't like maybe you get your feelings hurt a little bit because something didn't work out or you have to change something, but like that's always a growth place. It's not a place of destruction.
hmm
And we avoid failure to every minute ounce of our bodies. We want to avoid failure, and yet failure is the place of growth, and success could be, like at times, a space of destruction.
hmm
Mm.
especially if we have this illusion that we're successful. I know people like that too, and I'm
Oh,
sure you
girl.
do, Mark. I'm thinking about that. I'm like, that's, oh my gosh, yeah. There's so much with that as far as the success and the illusion of success.
Yeah.
If that was the case, I could have, as far as we talk about failure, I'm now divorced, and before I was looking at it, oh my gosh, April, you're such a failure. I was just going into
Mm,
this dark space, but then I realized again, these are there's these past experiences. So I had all these different experiences along my life journey, and I could look at them as failures, but I don't anymore because those were all lessons. We know the whole thing,
yes.
experience is a teacher. They're all lessons. I've never been as happy as I am now, right? And I had the divorce.
Yes.
Yep, a divorce came right after that. My mom passed. Then right after that, her mother, my grandmother passed, and I could have taken a different turn, a different direction, different path, right?
Hmm.
Yet I, it's so crazy. Like, I just woke up one day and I was like, I'm tired of feeling like this. I'm tired of feeling miserable. I'm tired of feeling guilty. I'm tired of feeling grief. I'm tired of just always feeling like I'm doing things wrong and I'm not doing it right. I want to live, and I want to do things that make me feel good,
Mm,
because I know my heart, and my intentions are good.
mm,
And I don't I don't want to give up on that because I'm still here. Attempting suicide, all of that, all of
yeah.
those things. And I'm like, okay, but April, is that really you? Talking about
Mm,
what is the real self with Dr. Rao, right? Martin? And
yeah.
I'm like, no, that's not me though. That is
Yeah.
not me. And I'm like, okay, so what am I going to do with all of this? Let me sit with myself. And people have a tendency to have a hard time doing that. Let me sit with myself. Let me look at all of these decisions that I made in the past that have really traumatized me, yet at the same time it has helped me to evolve and grow, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Failure, as far as being growth. Failure is going to help you to evolve and grow into that beautiful being that you are.
That's right. You just can't sit there and feel sorry for yourself. I mean, that's fine to do for a time, but like once you get to your graduation day, and your graduation day is that day you look in the mirror and you say, God, what the fuck? And like I talk about this. So I got 21 years clean and sober. That's a big thing that I talk about recovering yourself, your true self, right? Like, and so I always talk about that idea. I did a talk on here a long time ago about like God being in your bathroom mirror. And when you look at yourself and you address God and you look deep in your eyes with those tears, like that's the
Mm,
first time that you've addressed yourself correctly. When you say,
mm,
God, what is this? And then you're like,
mm,
all right, now you see you. Now you see yourself. And that's truth, and then that's the space where you can break through. So if you look to others for fulfillment, you'll never truly be fulfilled. If
mm,
your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself.
mm.
What are your
Yes.
thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, other than yes, of course.
how can you be fulfilled if you're just looking and depending on others to help you
Mm,
with that?
yep.
The only person that can make you happy is you, because you are the only one. You know what's best for you. You know what feels good, and you know what feels right for you. So then I'm thinking, as far as my friends, and I would tell them, so do that.
Yeah. No
Do
matter what
that.
that is.
Yeah.
No matter what that.
Right, Martin. Whatever it looks like, whatever comes up for you, do that. And I used to look for others to give me the answer per se. Well, okay, what am I'm going to do now? I'm divorced. I don't know what to do. I'm not really sure. I haven't done this before. And I would look to others, and would tell me, like, but that wasn't fulfilling because it wasn't feeling right. I know what
Right.
feels right. I just had to do like what you said, Martin. Just like look, I had to look right there in the mirror and be like, okay, April, what the hell? All
Yeah.
right, like seriously, and I would say that I'd be like, seriously, April, what the hell?
Yeah.
Let's look at this. Let's break this shit down,
That's
please,
right. That's right.
because I
That's
can't
right.
keep doing this. I'm not being fulfilled. I'm
Right.
relying too much on others, on outside influences, what have you, as opposed to going within, looking within to have my own inner fulfillment, because my that inner is going to express on the outer, and it's going to be a beautiful experience.
That's right. I always, like because I'm coming out of recovery and stuff, I always like to kind of point out that we're always living under the influence. We live under the influence of our economic system. We live under the influence of our education system. We live under the influence of our parents. We live under the influence of our experiences and our preconceived ideas. Like, and until we break those down, until we can get to the bottom of those and stop living, get out from under the influence of those things, we are going to, we're leading a life that isn't ours. We're living a life that is under the influence. So you got 30 seconds left, but I want you to come back on so we can land this really quick. So when you go out, just come back in if you have the time.
Okay, yeah, absolutely, Martin.
Yeah, yeah.
But I love that, like you said, coming up out of that influence, because it's so heavy, it's so toxic. It can be very toxic because people allow themselves to get heavily influenced.
That's right. That's right. And and like we mentioned earlier, like, do what comes naturally and next for you. And what I look at that as and how I see that is always in the space of, well, even if you want to use crack, even if that's your answer, even if your answer is I'm just going to go and like blow myself out for a minute. Like, I always want to say, well, that's fine. That's fine. But you also have to question it after that. Like, now that you're done, you have to ask the question, well, did that help me? Is that something that I want to continue doing? And the thing is, I think a lot of people get stuck in not actually asking that question is, did this work? Is this where I want to move? Is this taking me to where I want to be going?
Hmm. And if it's not working, you find that it's not working. Okay, well, let's see what else works. Like, that's
Yeah. Now what?
okay.
Now what? Now what? That's all. Like, I don't care what you do. Like, I talk to in my workshops and stuff. I tell people all the time, look, if you want to stop using sugar because sugar's too much for you and you start using crack, that's cool. But you have to ask yourself at some point, well, is that working? Is that taking me where I wanted to go when I first decided I wanted to quit sugar? Because if it's not taking you in that direction, then it's not working. And it doesn't matter what it is, because if it is taking you in the direction you want to go, well, keep doing it. Like, what the hell? Like, I can't imagine that would ever be the answer to somebody. But but it doesn't, like, what I'm trying to do is emphasize the idea that it doesn't matter what you want to do. Doesn't matter what other people think of it. Doesn't matter. But if that is what is coming up for you as the next most logical thing, do it, because it's you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's you being you.
That's
So
right.
do that. Do you, be you. And
Hmm.
I was thinking about the fulfillment again, as far as myself. I'm like, okay, I'm fulfilled. I feel that, and I'm fulfilled when I am at peace. So, let me look and see what brings me peace. I write, and everybody has their own way of doing it, Martin, but I'm a writer. I love to write. So I write that down. What brings me peace, I'll put the colon, and then I'll write the stuff down,
Hmm.
because I find that there's more things as I've experienced other things. And I find that there's more things when I keep doing that self reflection. It's like that check in, right? The self check in.
Yeah.
And if it's not bringing me peace, then I'm like, okay, well, okay, April, you going to keep doing this? No, because it's not going to bring me peace. So, and I want to stay in my peaceful state. I want to continue to flow more into peace, you know?
Yes, yes. And that's, and that, yeah. So that's the, we just want to keep, we can't depend on those things outside of us. And that's really what we're saying. It's like, we got to get out from under the influence. And here, this next line, which is, your happiness depends on money. If your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself. And
Mhm.
that's what that's kind of what you referenced earlier with that idea with people who have a lot of money. Like they're miserable. Like they're
Yeah.
not happy with themselves, and they're not fulfilled. They're not truly fulfilled because they're looking outside of themselves, living under the influence of things.
Hmm.
And then we move into this final section, which says, be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are.
Mm.
So many, like I learned I learned from my tax guy this past year when I sent in all my numbers that like I didn't make any real money last year. And that's cool. Like but it was like that initial sort of like message from my accountant, which was, you don't have to pay taxes. You've made so little money. And I was like, oh, that's shameful, right? Like I held shame for that. But then I had to be able to address it and just be like, nope, this is just the way things are, and it's okay. I'm okay. Like I'm safe. I'm fine. I'm supported. I'm held. Like everything is fine. Um, but I have to be able to rejoice in the way things are and not judge it. Not just be like, oh, this makes me less of a person to other people. No, I am doing amazing work. Just because money is not attached to it at the moment doesn't mean anything. That's not a failure. And even if it was, which is more important? Or which is more destructive, success or failure? So I'm still in a growth, in a space of growth.
Mm, mm. I love that, Martin, and I can tell you're doing amazing work. And I was listening to you in the conversation with Dr. Rao, and that's absolutely beautiful. And I'm thinking about this one saying that I've written down is let go of what was and embrace what is.
Mm,
And all of this stuff comes, right, Martin, because of my own experiences, my own traumatic experiences that I've had.
yeah,
And again, it goes back to that self reflecting. So once I let go of what was and this whole notion of, okay, what am I going to do as far as money and this and that? And yeah, I'm doing all these great things, opening up my throat chakra. I'm doing this on Clubhouse, Wisdom, being on social media and sharing these beautiful messages with people. And I'm like, okay, well, but I'm not getting paid. How is the money going to come in? And then I let go of that and realize that, you know what? I'm missing out on celebrating, embracing, and enjoying what's happening at this moment. It's about that being present, right?
yes.
Enjoying these moments where they're at this very moment and rejoicing in that, celebrating that. And that it genuinely makes me feel content and peace because I am content.
And that brings us right into this final line, which is, when you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you.
You have everything you need.
That's right. Oh, Jesus, April, thank you so much. This is our first talk. I'm sure we'll be talking again. Thank you so much for sharing the Tao with me.
Oh my gosh, Martin. And now I'm going to be looking it up. So as far as the Tao,
If you reach out to me on Instagram, I'll send you a link to hundreds of English translations.
I will do that. Martin, I so appreciate this conversation. I love what you're doing. I love that our souls connected, and I look forward to connecting with you again.
Yes, we will. Thank you so much.
Take care. Have a beautiful day.
Bye bye. Oh, Nancy she had she Nancy, how are you doing? Come on up and give me a number. Hopefully you're doing well. Glad.
Young man,
How are you?
I'm doing good. I just got done for my walk again, and I went, I'm
Oh,
checking in, and that last
check in.
person was perfect.
Yes, April had a beautiful 44 to talk about. So, what's your number for today, dear?
Mine is 46.
46, I believe that's here. Yep.
It
Okay.
better be, right?
46. When a country is in harmony with the Tao, the factories make trucks and tractors. When a country goes counter to the Tao, warheads are stockpiled outside of the cities. There is no greater illusion than fear, no greater wrong than preparing to defend yourself, no greater misfortune than having an enemy. Whoever can see through all fear will always be safe. So when the Tao talks about country, I don't know if you've heard this before. I always like to think of just groups, like even your body could be seen as the country, right? When a country is in harmony with the Tao, factories make trucks and tractors. Like when your body is in harmony with the Tao, the energy of your body goes towards making productive things.
Mm-hmm.
When a country or your body even goes counter to the Tao, warheads are stockpiled outside of the cities, and we've heard about this. Like your body will create disease and
Mm-hmm.
will attack itself. Like I have MS, right? Like so, there was a point where I stockpiled. Like I was preparing to defend myself to such a degree that I defended myself against myself. So
Mm-hmm.
so when I hear country, I always kind of bring it down to the smallest entity as well. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I learned this part of me last night about
it's always
defi-
it's always it's always fresh, isn't it?
right. It's about defiance, but I'm not defiant, but I was taught and trained to be defiant. And that creates war inside of me.
Yes.
That creates my inability to move forward because defiance creates fear. Um,
Yes. Like, why
because
are you defiant?
why am I defiant? Exactly, because everything I was, and I didn't realize this until last night. It was actually given to me. Um, because there's always been a defensiveness about me when I go forward. And what
Mm,
you suggested was because, when I make the right, quote unquote, the right move, it was incorrect. Like, don't go there. It was
right.
incorrect. Don't go there. And the direction I'm in and the space that I'm in right now is because of wisdom and the people that I have really been brought to. And it's just the energy of it. Um, is that the greatness of me is the person I was told not to be, which I'm good with. It's just when I get to that point, and it's so funny just listening, I visualized what you were saying. Um, when I get to that point of going, okay, I'm going to go, it's like, yeah, I'm going to just keep doing this. Something inside of me goes, no,
Right.
and that's the war you're talking about, and that's whoa. So, yeah, you can keep breaking that down to see what else resonates.
Yeah. Yeah, so that beginning is really beautiful. And like, again, when we reference the country, right? It's sometimes it's hard when people that might be listening like hear, well, when a country is in harmony with the Tao, they make trucks and tractors. Well, how does that relate to me personally? Well, it relates to you because like it's either you're creating a healthy environment or you're
Hmm.
creating an environment that is ready to defend itself. And
Hmm.
and
And
if we
that's what
look,
I'm staying away from. That is
yeah.
exactly what I'm like. I'm not going forward unless I don't feel that. And so keep going. It's perfect.
Yeah, and when we prepare to defend ourselves, well,
Mm.
everything that happens is like, like we look around right now at all of these different diseases and illnesses that are autoimmune. Like that makes sense all of a sudden, right? All of a sudden we can start to see that, oh wait, somewhere in my life I was going counter to the Tao. And I have a history of being like a hoodlum and like an addict and all of these. And so like
I
I was
can't imagine
definitely
that, Martin. I can't imagine it.
and I'm really grateful for that because
Absolutely.
that means that I have done some serious work.
But okay,
So
and I'm gonna put this out there is what you just said is because a lot, there's a defensiveness that can be created saying, well, I became an addict, or I could say, hey, I went in this direction. And what I've learned from my heart is that direction protected me from destroying what was inside of me. And I think that
Absolutely.
that's the
You're going to make me
same.
cry. Yes.
And so I mean that's what I deal with every single day is the in my heart it's like, and with people it's like, no, what happened to you happened for you, because if you didn't do that you would not be alive today.
Right.
And that's exactly what, and it's a statement my son gave me years and years and years ago, and every therapist out there, that my mom did not divorce my dad, I would be dead today. It's the exact same thing, but he
Yeah.
saw it
Yeah.
and it stuck to me. So keep going. I just wanted to throw that caveat out there because that was important for me to just say to you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, like I feel that. So I appreciate that. So next we have this line that says, there is no greater illusion than fear, no greater
Mhm.
wrong than preparing to defend yourself, no greater misfortune than to have an enemy. No greater illusion than fear. Like what? Like, so we have these three things, right? A great illusion, the great wrong, and the great misfortune. Um,
And all of
we
those are disconnected from who we are. But keep going.
yes, yes, absolutely,
Mhm.
right? Like how unfortunate it would be to have an enemy, because that enemy is yourself, as we were talking about earlier, right? This concept
Mhm.
of like I was talking about this when I was talking with April in 44, this idea that everything that we recognize outside of ourselves is us in a
Right,
way.
because
And
we
so
wouldn't be able to see it if
right, we
it
wouldn't
was.
be able to see it if it wasn't us. And so here we have like an enemy that we're seeing. That means that there's an enemy within us. And then before that, we have already prepared ourselves with the greatest wrong, which is to defend ourselves. Once again, bringing us back to the space of autoimmune disease.
Well, that is interesting. I just had this image of why this came right after Defiant, because
Mm-hmm.
I was taught to be defiant and I didn't understand why, because I've always been such a loving, caring person outside of my home. I was a loving, caring person in my home. It was just a different acceptance, I should say, receiver. Um, I was taught what I'm hearing, I'm just going to say this out loud. What I'm hearing is you are meant to go from love, excitement, and happiness without proving or trying to show anybody they're wrong. Which is total opposite of what most of society hears. Most of society hears, and they're telling you, what is the problem? Call the problem out, and then you have the answer, the solution. And
Right.
it's always felt icky to me because I'm like, if I bring the problem up, I'm going to keep having the problem. But they're like, that's the way you have to, any coach who
Mm-hmm.
told me this, that's what I'm hearing is that's not in line
That's
with me.
that's counter to the Tao. That is counter to, and it's counter to my beliefs as well.
Good,
Like I don't think
good.
you have to call it out and be a victim of it in order to deal with it. I think that is where psychology and therapy has, and coaches especially have gone wrong. And this idea that you have to face yourself, not the thing. The thing is within you, and facing yourself is the way to do that. And there is no greater illusion than fear, because that thing outside of you is you. No greater wrong than preparing to defend yourself. Why would anybody prepare to defend themselves? Like I even do this still. Like, I tell stories in my head when somebody disagrees with me, I'm going to defend myself in this way. Like I tell myself, and then I'm like, wait, what are you doing? Like get back to,
Mm.
just get out of your head for a minute and just be here in your body. And it's okay. It's okay. You have
So in other
nothing to
words,
defend.
proving myself, and I'm just saying this as a statement,
Hmm.
proving myself and my what I know and who I am, and no, that's not right. Even if say you defined me as a totally different person than I believe myself to be, to prove myself or defend myself is just as dangerous to me as running into fear.
Yes, because it is fear. It's fear of being misunderstood. It's fear of
Because
fear of
I will, no, I get it. I get you. If you saw what I
yeah.
wrote the last week, this is awesome. So what we're saying, it's giving me, because what I've been consider, and it's like now I can see where the defiance comes from. I personally have no desire, I'm going to say this nicely, has have absolutely no desire to allow people to see what I'm offering and doing and being, in the sense of you don't have, I have
Right.
the answer. And this is all the training I've had since I've made my shift.
Right.
And you're saying, you know better, Nancy. You know the direction that's
You
good
know.
for you. That's what
Right.
I'm hearing from you. You're like, okay, do you hear this, Nancy? Do you hear this? This is no, no, no. Keep staying with you. Keep stay.
Yep.
That's what I'm
Keep
hearing you
staying
tell
there.
me.
Yeah, that's
Keep,
beautiful because like and then we end this 46 with whoever can see through all fear and all of that, all of those coaches and therapists and stuff, we have to understand that they're also stuck in trying to prove themselves and trying to be right and trying to have the answer and trying to be seen as authority because that is the world that we are all like living under the influence of.
okay,
So
wait, but
that's,
isn't wait, but isn't that's not what I get. So hear me out here.
oh, please. Yeah.
And no. Um, I'm I've been told, I'm just going to go with what I've been told. I've been told that the concept of an avatar, which I don't have, I have an avatar as a cartoon, but what I was taught is find the problem because that's going to get people to understand that they need. And those,
Right. That's
and
going
that's
to,
that's a dangerous thing from what you know of me, right? And I mean danger energetically.
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
polar
yeah.
opposite of me. Oh man, that's what's been holding me back because I'm not a defiant person, and that's defiance. Let me prove to you what I have
Whoa.
for you because I'm better than you. That's what I just heard.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my Lord, that is not me. I want people to come and be with me because I want them to be with me.
Right. Right.
I want real friends. I want real teammates. I want real comrades. I don't want
And
anybody thinking that I'm superior to them. God help me, no.
right. And all of that, like the only reason you would want that is, you know, we have to be able to break down this concept of fear into the broadest spectrum. And what we say here at the end is whoever can see through all fear will always be safe.
Oh, you just and so me saying and let me know if this is true. Me saying that everything happens for you, not to you, takes all fear away.
It could,
Broad
it can.
perspective, make
Broad
it that.
perspective, yes. Broad perspective, yes. Like
That's how I
once,
live. That's why I ask. That's
right.
how
Yeah,
I
me too.
personally in my home live.
Right. You are not the victim of anything.
No, 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 no.
No.
And so what this is being offered to me is that fear is false energy appearing real because I deal with energy.
Right.
But it's false energy because it's a lie.
Yeah.
And it's the opposite because it's a lie because it's the way to make you do it my way so that I can make money off of you.
Yeah. Or so that you can so that you can um solidify my fears. You can prove my fears to me.
Right.
Right.
Because if I
Like,
prove that you're that way, then I look better.
right. See, now
Son
now
of
we're
a
starting to
biscuit.
break down fear.
Right, because what that did, and I'm telling you, it's my whole world, but I got something in front of me right now that I'm just going to work with because I don't care about yesterday. So, no matter how much money the person makes, and they still go into that mode of, in the sense of poke the problem, poke
Yep.
the store,
Yep.
it doesn't make any difference because I'm still connected. And being
And
connected
always will
to
be.
my
Right.
source, no, being connected to my source of consciousness, I mean, awareness,
Yeah.
is more important to me than poking the bear.
Right. And that becomes, like that brings up this 44 that I talked with April in the beginning of that, which fame or integrity, which is more important, money or happiness, which is more valuable, success or failure, which is more destructive. Like that was in 44 that we read with April, and that like ties in really nicely here as
Yeah, and
well.
I didn't hear that part, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh, um, wow. All I got is wow.
Yeah,
That's all I.
The Tao is a magical place, man.
Well, it's a source of connection, and you're allowing because of who you are. You're allowing me to see that. Just keep coming, Nancy. You're going. You're. This is it. You're getting your hug. You're getting your hug. You're getting your hug because that's all I want. Hear me because I know this is what I'm saying to myself. I know the answers. I want to feel safe in my heart with the direction I'm in, and it's not that I'm going. I'm already there.
Yeah.
It's sharing it. It's coming out and just saying it.
That, yep. And you just, yeah. Uh, if you want to come in and land that plane, great. I did get it, I think. And we're gonna go ahead and move to Nafisa. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you just. We do have a couple people in the queue, so I want to let you just land that, and then I'm gonna go to Nafisa, and then Lois, and then Julie. If you guys stick around, I'll get. Go on.
I don't want the whole time. I didn't even know I dropped until you said that. So I don't have my phone in my face.
Yeah, that's fine.
But no, what I'm hearing is all I get to do is continue to receive the love that I'm receiving in the energies that I allowed myself to soak in and find this community.
Yes.
The rest of it will morph in the fun, playful, loving kind way because it is the most powerful feeling inside of me. And I say this to the entire community that you guys see me. You don't see anything else but me. And that doesn't make sense to you, but I know what that means. I haven't been seen like this in over 25 years. So
Mm.
thank you. And I'm going to
I'm
keep going.
grateful to see you because that means I'm seeing me, and you are
Yes,
pretty awesome.
that's what I'm saying. Thank you. So I'm
All
going to
right.
let you go. I'm going
Yep.
to go do my thing. I'm going to continue listening. Thank you. I love and appreciate you and everybody else. So thank you. But you,
Thank
big,
you.
huge hug.
Love you. Oh man. So we're bringing Nafisa on. Nafisa has been a guest with me before, and we do have people in line. If you can stick around, please do. Nafisa, how are you? How is the family?
Hello, Martin John. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well as well. So, do you have a number?
Um.
Jump right in.
Oh, okay. Let's put 33.
3.
Yeah, 33. 3 3
33.
3
Okay.
3. Yeah.
3 3. Let's not go to 3 then. Okay. Oh, this is short. Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. Have we read this before together?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay. I
Mm.
thought maybe it was you. If you realize that you have enough, you are truly rich. If you stay in the center and embrace death with your whole heart, you will endure forever. What are your thoughts?
Hmm. Um. It's about letting go and allowing, but also understanding the aspect of trusting that intuition, trusting the divine guidance, and taking action in the process. So, I heard about that part of dealing with others requires intelligence, of course, not word for word. And this is what I see about the fact that we can't control other people, but at the same time, in order to be in that win win situation, then we have to deal with people with intelligence. Okay, these are just a few of my thoughts.
Yeah, I want to look at this
Yeah,
in relation to your being a mother as
yeah,
well.
okay.
Because like what we have in the beginning here is knowing others is intelligence, right? Like
Hmm.
but knowing yourself is true wisdom. Like in relation to raising like do you have more than one child?
I have one daughter, just one
Okay.
child. Yeah.
Okay. So it's I was going to just assume you had one child, but I
Mm.
didn't want to. So your daughter,
Yeah.
I didn't want to go there because you'd be like, well, why is he saying that?
Mhm.
So knowing others, so knowing your daughter is intelligence. So you can know how to raise your daughter because of like the books you've read or the things that you've learned along the like your mom or your family or grandparents and all of your experiences. That's intelligence.
Okay.
But knowing yourself is true wisdom. Like if you can let go of all of those ideas, the natural course of raising your child will come to you. And I bet
Mm.
you have ways of talking to and relating with your daughter that no one ever taught you.
Absolutely. I understand what you mean now because yeah, I'm trying to get it. Um, yeah. So it's been ingrained in me. Yeah, I love this perspective actually of parenting because the more I understand myself, I did mention that to you. It keeps coming back, every now and
Yeah.
then about her being a mirror to me, and she's closer to the heart. She's closer to her. What can I say? She's closer to her power than someone who has gone through a lot of conditioning, right? For example,
Mm-hmm.
me. So she shows me a lot of me that that hasn't been controlled or hasn't been tarnished with, or the image hasn't been tarnished. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, that can be triggering because triggers come when we're not able to be in control, right?
Right.
And yeah, so she has helped me to heal. She has helped me to heal because it's always coming back to myself to say, okay, what is this teaching me? How can I be how can I be better for me first? And the more I'm better for me, and that's where the wisdom comes. The more I'm better for me, then I can be a better parent to her. And
Yes.
then it's not intelligence anymore; it is wisdom.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's kind of how I'm seeing it, where it's just like
Mm.
you just open yourself up to learn now and to
Mm.
learn about you. And then the more you love yourself, the more you can love and offer love to your daughter. Oh.
Absolutely. It's reflecting every bit of me. The more space I open up within myself, then I'm able to reflect that space outside of me,
Mhm.
starting from her.
So, and then this next line, which is really it's kind of pivotal as we're talking about parenting, because it says, mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power.
Oh.
Whoa. How does that ring to you as a parent? I'm not a parent, but it seems like that would be really strong to any parent.
Hmm.
Mastering others is strength, like forcing your child to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way I picture it, actually, just like you said, is the force, is the control. This morning she was telling me about her friend who shouts at her mom, sorry. And I was trying to tell her that even though she didn't understand, and it was also me talking to myself at that point, I've learned that whenever I'm advising her, whenever I'm speaking to her, I am speaking to myself first. I'll be like, Nafisa, you're speaking to yourself first, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I told her that really when you see a child doing that, it's most likely they're saying the same thing the parent is doing, or the parent is doing the same thing. So I was trying to explain that to her, but this is just what we're saying right now, that when we go out of saying that we know this other person without looking deep into ourselves, then we're not operating out of our power, we're not operating out of our worth, we're operating out of controlling the other person, and that always leads to struggle, and we always wonder what is going wrong, is where am I going wrong. But then when you sit with yourself and study what it is, or you sit with yourself and heal, and come back to your power, come back to your worth, love yourself. And this is where we can confuse self-love with pride and vanity, when actually self-love is the hard stuff. It's the hard stuff, is all of the choices that you make to come back to yourself, all of the choices that you make for you, the difficult choices.
Yes. And then when you can do that,
Mm,
like that's what it says. Mastering yourself is true power.
it is
Like
true.
now that you've been a master of yourself, like you're not going to fly off the handle and get triggered every time your daughter does something that like you didn't expect, because
Mhm.
you're able to appreciate them for where they're at, because you don't know them, you
Yeah.
know yourself. You don't
Hmm.
have control over them, you have control over yourself, and so they can live their life.
Yeah, she is an individual. I see her as a different person entirely right now. I'm only there to guide her through my own healing. So the only thing, or can I say um, the only value I own her is my own healing. This is, yeah.
Yes. Wow, so beautiful. If you realize that you have enough, you are truly rich.
Oh, now that is powerful because I am exactly where I need to be. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And that feeling, that coming back to that state, keeps me in a very relaxed feeling. And whatever it is I am feeling, the emotions, having been someone who has repressed emotions for so long, when I come back to that state of being enough and being exactly where I need to be, then that relaxation, it flows immediately. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking at this. I look at those first two lines, and I agree completely.
Yeah.
But I want to like add this caveat to it. Like the first 4 lines, the first section says, knowing others is intelligence, knowing yourself is true wisdom, knowing others is strength, knowing yourself is true power. And then if you realize you have enough, you are truly rich. Why else would you want to know others than if you felt like you didn't know enough? Why else would you want to master others if you didn't feel somewhere inside that you were not the master of yourself, or that someone else was the master of you? And so when you realize you have enough, you're truly rich. You don't need to know others. You don't need to have the answer. You don't need to master others. You don't need to be in
Yeah,
control.
that's
You have
because you know
enough.
your position. Yeah, you know your
Right. You are
position in the
truly rich.
world. Yeah. So when you know your position, you know and own your worth. The more you do that, it's a process, and with every level of the process, you have that different experience in life, a more fulfilling experience. Yeah, so it's about knowing your position, and the more you know your position, you don't see the need to compare yourself. You don't see the need to feel less than enough. You don't need see the need to stay stuck. You always see that you are exactly where you need to be, and how can you get better for yourself, because it's all about you.
Yes. It is
Yeah.
all about you. And that's
Yeah.
not selfish. That is,
Mm-mm.
it is about you because you are part of a whole, and that
Yeah,
whole needs you to be you. And
to be
the
you.
more you push it away from yourself, the more we all suffer.
Absolutely. That's where the connection is. That's where the abundance is.
Hmm. And then we finish this off by saying, if you stay in the center and embrace death with your whole heart, you will endure forever. Yeah, I look at this death
Hmm.
as being the death of the identity of who
Ooh.
you are. First it's the identity of knowing others, and then
Mm.
the identity of mastering others. And then eventually it becomes the identity of your body and the identity of you as a mortal being. And then when you can embrace that wholeheartedly every moment, then you will endure forever. First you will endure the
Mm.
death of your identity,
Yeah.
and then you will endure because your daughter
Mm.
exists when you don't.
That's beautiful. Wow. And I also see, when we talk about grief right now, we talk about grief, we think about the death of people, people close to us, our loved ones. And we often forget the death of our old selves, how
Yes.
we grieve. And it's just owning that, yes, there's going to be the death of our old self. It's just like how we shed hair every single second. We're going to keep shedding our old selves. So how are we in allowing, or can I say in allowing of that?
Yes. Yeah.
In
How can we
allowing,
how can we open up to
open
our
up.
own death,
Yeah.
to the death of those things that we hold so dearly, our
Mm,
identity?
mm, mm.
Nafisa, thank you so much. I love when you come on. My best to you and your daughter. I do have a couple people in the queue, so I'm gonna move on. But thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Martin John.
Okay, Lois is next, and then Julie, and then Bella. So Bella, hang out. It's gonna be a little bit, but Lois, how are you doing, Lois?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How you doing, Lois?
I'm doing good. So I want to pick number 10.
Number 10. Let's move right in. Can you coax your mind from its wandering and keep to the original oneness? Can you let your body become supple as a newborn child's? Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but the light? Can you love people and lead them without imposing your will? Can you deal with the most vital matters by letting events take their course? Can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things? Giving birth and nourishing, having without possessing, acting with no expectations, leading and not trying to control. This is the supreme virtue.
Ooh, I love it. I love it because I can check the list because I've been working on this and I didn't even know it. Okay,
That's
switch
right.
start
Like
with the
when
person.
you're on that journey, it is a natural course, right?
It's like, yeah, it really is. That was just I didn't even know nothing about the Tao and all that kind of stuff, and you just told my journey. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, you just
Well,
told the whole thing. So start.
yeah, let's
Let me
start from
clear
the
my throat.
beginning and I want to hear the story. Let's see.
Okay.
Can you coax your mind from its wandering and keep to the original oneness?
Now, when I was thinking, I would say in survival mode, I couldn't. I couldn't at all. But it took me to have to focus just on what from to me. I use different scriptures from the Bible to hold on to that where I feel is God's promises personally to me. That's what
Yes.
I tell everybody when they use the Bible. His promises personally to each person. Okay. So, and me holding on to those scriptures and Psalms 91 and 23 and Isaiah 55 and
Okay.
committing I don't be really committing those things to memory, and yea though walk through the shadow of death and all that kind of stuff, fret not for evildoers or whatever. And then as I just kept looking up, I kept looking up, knowing if this is something better, this is something better. I kept looking up, and then that moved on to the next phase. So that coincides.
Yeah.
Where
Can
where
you
now
like yeah,
I
we
now
don't want to
now now I'm single minded. Now I'm single minded. It's like anything, any road, any. I don't even think of it as a crossroads anymore. I think of it just like that cross. You got it's pointed up and it's pointing down. It's a whole lot more cross pointing down than it is pointing up. Okay, that means it's going to take a whole lot more of me thinking about what's positive. I mean, effort. It's going to take more effort to get on the top of that thing. And when I was at the bottom, all I could think of was stuff at the bottom, underneath that
Yeah.
crossroads. And every time I made a choice, positive or negative, I elevated up or descended down. I'm gonna be
That's
real.
right. And that's
And I
and
played
that's
that little thing up
that
and down thing. Okay, so now I figured out that my energy and my emotions are the key to how whether I go down again. And
right.
I choose to stay up. And all I got to do is keep my eyes up, looking toward that toward the God, my higher power, whatever
Yeah.
y'all want to call them, that love
The
energy.
original
And
oneness, right? Like the
okay,
original
yes,
oneness. You
there it
connect
is.
into everything. Can you let
Okay.
your body become supple like a newborn child's? How
Oh
do you read that?
yes. I had to actually love my body and take care of
Mm,
my body like I was taking care of a baby. I had to change what I ate, when I ate, and how I ate. I
yeah.
had to do eating meditations and figure out what was making me sick and what wasn't making me sick. Now they got tests to do that shit. So y'all ain't got to go through all that shit
That's
I went
right.
through.
It's
Okay.
trial and error for us, girl.
It was yeah, buddy. Okay, so and in doing that, I was taking care of myself like I was taking care of an infant. I
Hmm.
just loved myself and I was patient with myself because sometimes I would get sick and I couldn't shit. Well, y'all know I didn't die, so
Uh-huh.
so that whole thing is. But yeah, so to me, when
And
you
then
talk about
so
something
you're
simple, you're talking about tender, and I treat
yes.
myself tenderly, and I
So
don't subject myself to things that can potentially harm me.
you
You
know
know what I mean?
that's great. Like you're cleaning up your diet, right? And then we move into this next line that says and you're cleaning up so much in your body. But
Yes.
then it comes to this next line. Can you cleanse your inner vision until
Oh
you can
hell
see
yeah,
nothing but the light?
baby boy.
Yes, come
That's
on.
why I'm still here. I won't be real. I done died 3 times, had 3 strokes. Okay, and I'm walking and talking and dancing and climbing mountains.
Come on.
Okay, so yes, can I see the light? Yes, I can see the light. I know I'm silly.
No, that's beautiful because that's so important, right? We talked about coaxing your mind from its wandering. And then once you stop wandering, you can kind of change your diet. You can change the chemicals that are coming into your body. And then you change your inner vision until you
And
can
that
see the
wandering
light.
and that wandering was the blaming of other people, blaming my
That's
childhood,
right.
feeling sorry for myself,
But never blaming your
all
diet.
that pitiful ass shit.
That's right.
I
And you
did
never
all that stuff.
yep. You and me both. But we never blamed the diet. And then when we stopped our mind from wandering, we were able to look at ourselves. We were able to
Yes.
change our diet. We were able to change our vision. And then, can you love people and lead them? without imposing your will. Talk to me.
Most definitely. That's what I've done with my kids because I didn't want them. I had an authoritarian one
Mm,
parent that was very authoritarian, and that because she was raising young black kids, and we had to understand stuff that most people don't have to understand. So it was a
yep.
little bit militant. Okay, I feared my mother, and I didn't want my kids to fear me. So I took a different approach. I gave them choices. And when we our choices didn't meet, I would listen to them out and they would hear me out, and then we'd come to an agreement. Or we agree to disagree. So
That's
they
great.
and then by me being who I am, when I got sick and my daughter got sick, y'all listened to her on here too. She
Mm-hmm.
was able to follow my example. Now I didn't force her. Actually told her I care, but I got to care less.
Oh, go on, go on. I love you.
Okay,
I love you. I love you. Come on,
I'm
like
I'm
bring
be
it
real.
because you got to care less. You have to care less. You cannot put it all on them. You
No,
can't just like this is when I go in and I talk to intensive outpatient programs, one of the first things I do is I say, "Look, I don't care about your recovery. I don't care about your choices. I care about you. But that
yeah,
doesn't
there
mean
it
I'm
is.
going to I'm going to I'm going to I'm going to do anything about what you choose to do."
Well, and it, no, my thing was I told him I'm not gonna work no harder than you gonna work on your recovery.
Mhm.
I'm
Go
not.
on.
I'm not. Now, I'm going to hold you in the light and keep you in the light and see you in your wholeness just like Jesus did. But I'm not going to hold your hand all the way through it. I'm going to hold your hand for a while. I'm going to teach you how to fish. And if you fish, you fish. If you don't, you don't. But I'm still going to keep walking.
You just,
Okay.
I was,
It's
I
just
just,
that.
the only, like I've talked to Julie a lot about this with her daughter, and she just gave us a little clap, and so yes, definitely, like there's a lot of people on here that can learn that lesson. I'm sure. So thank you for sharing that. Can you
Okay.
deal with the most vital matters by letting events take their course?
Well, I recognize that things just are, period.
Yes.
They just are. They only have the inflection of whatever I put on them as an
Mm,
individual, not
mm.
so much somebody else put on it, what I put on it. And I
Yeah.
choose, I choose light, I choose love, I choose goodness, I choose the next best thought because sometimes I'm in that pit and I want to think the worst thought and I can't just jump back up here on this high end and I got to think the next best thought to climb back up. Okay.
That's
But
right.
yeah, that's, yeah. I
And then
just,
it says, and then it says, can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things? How does that wrap up? That's
Oh
so
my
nice.
Jesus. I meditate. Oh my God. I just sit with God and I let him speak to me when I'm not meditating. And every time I walk around, I'm doing things. I'm thinking about what would love do? What would love do? What would love do in this situation? And I may make a joke, I may smile, I may pick at people, but it's just to get them playful or something. But I think what would love do? And that's to me, that just surrendering every day and knowing that as long as I operate from the intent of the love that I have in my heart, and there's a lot of it. I ain't realized I had this much. I'm like
Yeah.
Nancy. Nancy said she hadn't been this free. I had realized I had this much, and it's so much more. And as I release this love, all my gifts, oh my Jesus, my
Yes.
gifts and my angels and my helpers and oh my, and you guys, beautiful souls I met on here, I met Jesus. You don't know when you walk in love. It's like all the other stuff. It's like it's gone. It's not
Go
like it's
on.
gone. I'm still here. I'm still here. But when you realize things just are, and you put your inflection of tone on the shit, and that's what causes the issues, then you stop putting your inflection of tone. If you can't figure it out, stay neutral. Don't pick a
That's right.
side.
That's right.
Don't fucking
That's
pick
right.
a side. You
Step
stay
back from your
neutral.
own mind and understand it all. Like, go on. All right, and then we wrap up with this kind of this is the expression of the extreme virtue. This is how the Tao is now saying, well, let's do this. Giving birth and nourishing, having without possessing, acting with no expectation, leading and not trying to control. This is the supreme virtue. Like giving birth and nourishing. That's what we're doing here, right? We're giving birth to ideas, we're nourishing other people's concepts, and we're sharing.
Yes. You most
having
definitely.
without possessing, just like you and your daughter. Like you can have your daughter, but you don't possess her. It's
No,
not. It's not.
no,
You and
wait.
I don't
I'm
possess.
gonna take it further. I'm gonna take it further. For the past, when my other daughter was alive, when I was really sick, they put her conservator over me. So it was advantageous for me to do things I did and not have anything in my name. So I had a car, but I had a car, it was mine, but my name wasn't on it. I had a house, it was mine, but I put it in my kids' name because they told me I was dying. So I wasn't gonna have them go through all that bullshit. So I put
Mm,
it in their names. You know what I'm saying? I bought it in their name.
having without possessing. So
That's what I'm
nice.
saying. So I owned everything, but I didn't possess it because it was in somebody else's name and everybody was welcome to it.
And that's just like that's just letting go, and that's that brings us to this, like, where does it say, love people, lead them, you can deal with the most vital affairs by letting events take their course. Like, you just let that happen. And
Yes.
then the next line after having without possessing, acting with no expectation. You just
That's what
like do this.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That's what I do on here because some people I was listening to some people and they were talking about getting likes and clicks and
Oh,
how to boost their pages and
oh
how to
really? Like on
build their
here?
on here. Yeah,
I haven't
I
I
listen
haven't
to
I haven't I
everything, but
haven't
see,
heard any of those
I have
thoughts.
an interest in everything. So I listen to all conversations, even if initially I'm not don't like it. Usually, if I don't like something they saying,
Yeah, you got
it's
to focus.
that's something I need to clean out my closet. So I'll sit and listen to it, even if it bores me to tears, because it's
That's
something
important.
in it for me. Because I wouldn't feel some type of way about it if it wasn't something diamond in there for me. So I listen anyway,
Yeah, you got
and
to look
I
at yourself.
so you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying I listen anyway. When I listen anyway, I hear stuff that stuff I need to clear out my closet. And then I hear all that stuff. And so I was like, wow, I was just coming on here because this is fun to me. I'm going to
Yeah,
be real.
you and me both, baby.
This is fun to me, man. Just to be like my people. I mean, it's like, hey, this
That's
is like
right.
I come home to my community. You know, that's how
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
but
This
like I
is
said, hearing things like that, and I'm thinking, oh wow. Oh, and it started pulling me back a little bit, and I was like, that's not what
mm-mm.
I'm here for.
That's right.
I don't want
Coax
no
your mind from
power.
its
I don't want no
wandering,
oh, wait a
Lois.
minute, I'm sorry. I don't want no disciples.
That's right. No,
Somebody said that. I don't want no disciples.
no, no, no.
I just want people to find find what I found inside themselves because it's in all of us. It's in
Yes,
all of us. And then we got to always look up and take the high road. No matter what it is, we got to take the high road.
that's
That's what it
right.
means to turn the other cheek. It
And
don't mean literally somebody hit you and whatever. It's metaphoric.
that
We
finishes
take the
off
high
this
road.
because it says leading and not trying to control. Just like you said, I don't want to be no guru,
Thank you. Oh my
right?
Jesus.
This
Yes.
is this is how this ends, leading and not trying to control. These are the supreme virtues. Like, so you and I and so many people on here are leading, and I love that we're connected and you're part of my community, babe.
Man, I love you, Martin John. Oh my God, I love you, Martin John. Okay, you know, God is good, and I'm glad when I'm hearing you guys. I'm hearing me too, and I'm finding out that oh my God, you're not so bad at all. Because I still had that shit going on. Okay, let's get real. So I've been cleaning it up, but
Bye bye. I'm bringing Bella up. It turns out, I guess Julie had to go because Julie was on. Julie was waiting. I'm gonna bring Bella and Don. I know you've been waiting there for a minute. Bella usually has some insights to drop on us, and then I'll get to you as soon as I can.
Oh, I was hoping to hear from Julie.
Yes, she was there. She was there, and then she was gone as soon as we were getting to her. So
Oh, what a wonderful discussion Lois had.
yeah.
But actually, it was really good listening to all those who spoke before, because what I just wanted to share was, it's a quote by Carl Jung,
Mm.
and I think that's what you do here. It says, to confront a person with his own shadow is to show him his own light. And I think that's what you've been doing
Mm.
on Hour of the Day. Actually, the tiles coming up and the people seeing their light by having to confront their shadow.
Yeah,
I don't know if it makes sense. And
it
when
does. It does.
Nancy was speaking and about thinking, another young quote is that we think we don't like to think because it's easier to judge. Because when
Mm,
we're thinking, we're not dealing with that. When we're thinking, it's we're absent from our senses. But judgment, it's so easy. As most of what you've been saying, that I'm this, I have these likes, I have these followers. So are
mm,
you the divine intelligence inside of you, or are you the sensory aspect which Lois was talking about? The car, the house, the
right.
labels. And when you are the divine intelligence, it's not a quick fix. It's not like sugar. When you, I'm talking to myself as well. When you are connected to the divine intelligence, it's not a quick fix because it's much more solid. And because it's love, and this is what you always do here on the Tao of the Day, it has no boundaries. And every message seems to be saying, connect to the divine intelligence, your higher power in you, rather than your senses.
Yes. And that's so much of what I talk about when I do my podcast, Recover Yourself, when I do my
Mhm.
workshops and all of that. Like all of that is like recover yourself. Like yourself, like that high self, that self that is that higher self, that you have never been able to be because around us we are constantly referring to the senses.
Mhm. Mhm. Can I ask this though? We are, because when we're lost in bliss, we are ourselves. When we see something beautiful and we smile, and for a second, all our boundaries are removed, and we are just that. We are that childlike aspect of ourselves. That is our real self. Because if we close our eyes and we think, when was the day we were just so happy? For instance, laughing so much that you're rolling on the floor, you know, you're out of control
Yeah.
because you were in bliss without the senses.
Yeah. And like, well, I'm always kind of torn. Do I want to like this is a bigger conversation outside of
Mm.
like it's not outside of the Tao. I don't know that anything is outside of the Tao, but it is
The Tao
it
is
is
love.
yes. And I look at this, I look at these, when you are physically moved by your happiness and
Mhm.
physically moved by things and like I always look at celebration as a thing that a lot of people like celebrate and they pacify during their celebration because it's so hard to feel.
Mhm. Mhm.
They celebrate with things like celebrate with alcohol, they celebrate with drugs, or they celebrate with sex, or they celebrate with all of these things, and it's like, yes, that's great, but can we sit with that? Because like pain and happiness like run along those same meridians, and it's like in our bodies when we're unable to deal with the discomfort, we're sometimes unable to deal with the happiness as well because it is intense.
Martin John, you said something. We are physically moved. When we're physically moved, would you not say we're connecting to our higher self? And hence that's why we're moved?
Yeah, I don't know that, like it's
It's
so
just
much, so
beautiful.
many times when we talk, it's like it's so hard, like language can't express
Exactly.
what we experience, like
Exactly.
physically moved, like we are being physically moved because we are energetically charged.
Exactly. And that's it. Language cannot be expressed because language is limited with our experience.
Yeah.
And that is why I come up to speak, because, and not stay in the shadows,
Yes.
because it teaches me how much I am growing. And I am growing because I am interacting with others, and my energy is interacting with others, and they are interacting with me.
Yes.
And by that, things, the boundaries grow. And I remember this on Saturday. I was mentally tired, and I just said, look, I'm going to do it. I am going to do it. And I did it. This
Yeah.
is it. Grace spoke for me. Grace spoke for me. And it
Mm.
just seems that on this, when I do a room, I say, okay, I'm just going to outline the topic, and I use the video on my Instagram page on courage, to psych me up to come
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you, I have no more than maximum 5 people. I've not counted because I'm just in the flow.
Yeah.
I remember the first one until I do the summary. I know I've had amazing people come up, but
Yeah.
it's definitely no more than 5.
So
And
for those that are listening, Bella did a talk on Saturday on the epigenetics and the law of attraction. She had 162 people listening throughout the
162, there
talk.
was 130 when I left.
Well, you got 162 now,
Stop looking at the
and it's
figures.
it's about 2 hours. So, but I would definitely check it out. I haven't yet, but it's something I have earmarked. So.
Martin John, we're not doing the figures. Right? We're just
I'm
talking
just
about
telling people we're looking at figures. Like I just
uh,
looked at it because you said you had some people sharing, and I just wanted to kind of put those numbers out there. The strong numbers, babe. Come on. It's
we're
not
talking
just
about
because
divorce.
160 people doesn't mean it's
Stop
any
it,
better than
Martin.
it would have been if there were 2 people. But there were 162. That's it.
Stop it, Martin. Stop it. Stop it. We're getting to our senses. Now, where were we? So, what I was talking about was that I don't know what happens.
No,
It's just that. No, because I
no.
talk for a while, people come and share, we get into a conversation. And I remember I look at it and say 1.5 hours. Well, we need to wind this up. And then that's like, what I said, we need to wind it up. And then somebody else will come and drop gems. I think
Yeah,
Wisdom should put the name and everybody who contributed, because then that goes on onto their files as well.
yeah. I
Because,
suggested that a while ago.
yeah, because what I'm trying to say is that when we're in our bliss, we radiate that energetic frequency that brings other people in that bliss. And because they're not doing it for, what can I say, a cultural aspect, but they're just sharing from their heart, it
Yeah.
draws in other people, like you do with the Tao. You
Mm.
start, someone comes up, and I've been listening through all the cards, and there's just a general theme running through it. And
Yeah.
that's love, no
Mm.
expectations, just be present, connect with your higher self in
Yeah.
different languages.
Bella, it's always so wonderful to hear you. I'm looking forward to listening to the epigenetics talk, and I know you don't do a lot of rooms, so those are special.
Well, I don't do a lot of rooms
You
because,
share everywhere.
yeah, I share because, I mean, I could do a lot of rooms,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah,
but I think what Lloyd said was good, and I'm not against anybody doing rooms, but for my own journey, I do not want to. First of all, I do not want to. I want to learn
yeah,
and grow. You know, um, and I want what? Not I want. I keep saying when I do a room, it's because I moved to do a room,
hmm,
and because I moved to do a room, the people who come on stage
yeah,
amplify that,
yes,
and because the epigenetics one, I had to be a bit more scientific because. It had to come from references because it's very delicate. And I'm thinking, I spoke to a friend of mine before I did it, and she said, well, how are you going to bridge epigenetics with law of attraction. It's impossible. But grace allowed me to do that.
Yes, and
And
nothing's impossible with grace.
exactly, exactly. So one has to be moved. And if I'm moved, then I know I'm going to learn, and the audience are also going to learn. And it's going to be a two-way thing. Um, but I don't just, for me, it's been difficult for my essence to come up and just talk, But
Yeah.
that's my journey. Anyway, I feel tired, so I'm going to get off. I
Yes.
can see Julie coming up, and I really want to hear what she has to say. And Martin John, it's always a pleasure talking
Always.
to you. And as you've said that, I'm going to look. For 2 minutes, I'm going to connect to my senses.
Yes,
Stay
connect
blessed,
with
my
them. They're
dear.
beautiful.
Yes, stay blessed.
You too, love. All right, we are at Don Pope. I want to bring you up, but Julie reached out. She had a phone call, so I'm bringing her up now, and we are going to chat.
Yes.
Hello, my dear.
Hello. I'm sort of convalescing with my earache right now, but
Yeah,
it's come.
it's your earache. We don't want an
Yeah,
earache.
I've got earache. I've had earache for 3 days, and I'm going to fess up and say, listen, it's my own fault. I got this earache.
Okay.
I
Do you
prodded
know?
and poked in
Do
my ear.
what did you
And
do?
prodded and poked in my ear, and we all know
Ah.
that you really shouldn't put anything bigger than your elbow in your ear. So I broke
Well,
the
that
rule.
that that can happen, and I want you to like utilize the earache also with the whole recover yourself sort of concept of like,
Yeah.
okay, this is an entity. Why is this entity here? Why am I upset at this entity for being here? Instead
I'm
of,
not
remember
upset.
when we went through that
Yeah, I'm
one
not upset.
aspect of,
I know that I've realised that I really utilising what I've gained really
yeah,
is
because it's like,
this here is
don't
here for a reason. Yeah,
the
I'm just going to
deepness
enjoy.
of taking responsibility and stuff, you want to let that go and just be angry at it. That's cool, but then you have to take care of it as
I'm
well.
not
So I
angry.
mean, there's
I'm not angry. I
good.
know.
Well,
I'm just like,
like,
well,
yeah,
I get to lie on my side with a lovely warm hot water bottle on my ear. I get
oh
spoilt
yeah,
by everyone
there
around
you
me.
go.
It's cool,
Maybe you just need a little bit of that. You have a number for me today.
baby. I do 76 today.
76.
Yeah, what a
Okay,
number. Where did
76.
that
Yeah.
come from?
Men are born soft and supple. Dead, they are stiff and hard. Plants are born tender and pliant. Dead, they are brittle and dry. Thus, whoever is stiff and inflexible is a disciple of death. Whoever is soft and yielding is a disciple of life. The hard and stiff will be broken. The soft and supple will prevail.
Yeah, I'm
So,
enjoying that. That's like go with the flow. To me,
yeah,
that's what all of
like,
that says is go with the flow, be the reed,
yeah.
because the mighty oak can be mighty, but in a wind it will break. If you're more like the reed, you will bend with what happens and the wind will go round you. And when the wind is gone, you'll still be there.
There's something interesting about all of this where it's like, like men are born soft and supple. And what aspects are soft and supple and what aspects are stiff?
Mm,
You could raise a child to start thinking pretty stiffly really early in their life.
yeah,
And they can just, as they live, they can just become more and more stiff,
yeah.
and more brittle and drier. And like, I don't know if it's my genes or my diet or my mind, but like for 46, I know I look good. You know what I mean? And
Good work. Good work.
and and I read this and I'm like, like my skin's not dry. I don't have, like I'm not aging in the same way that I think my peers are. I know people that are
Yeah.
much younger than me that look much older than me. And it's interesting how like this concept of soft and subtle and supple kind of like I see that, yes, okay, in my body, but I'm not like, what is in control of my body other than my thoughts? And so as I have, are my thoughts soft and supple? Are my thoughts able to bend in the wind? Or are
Yeah.
they brittle, and are they going to break?
Yeah. I agree with you. I think almost when you say soft and supple, it reminds me of youth. And youth reminds me of openness and the world is your oyster type
Yeah.
scenario. So, and as reality comes along and it kind of rigids your views become rigid and staid and within parameters. That's when you become dry of
Yes.
aspiration and hope. You know, that is how I read that line.
Yeah, me too. And I think that's it's a beautiful way of like being able to look at how we think and how we act. Like, are you soft and supple in the? Are you soft in the way that you accept people in your life? Are you soft in the in the people that you surround yourself with? Are you soft in the way you act? Are you soft? Like, if and at the end of here, the hard and stiff will be broken and the soft and supple will prevail. So soft and supple is at the key here, it's at the core here. And it's about being able to be pliant and it's about being able to be tender.
Yeah.
So thus, whoever is stiff and inflexible is a disciple of death. Whoever is soft and yielding is a disciple of life. So a disciple is interesting because we have the disciples of Jesus, right? Like Jesus. we have the disciples, right? And that's like you follow the path of that. And although there is a disciple, and a disciple may be somebody, I mean, I don't know the official definition, maybe someone who also preaches the word of, right? Like who will speak and who will be someone that will promote that. So maybe if we looked at it as like whoever is stiff and inflexible is a promoter of death, like
Yeah.
passing on to your children possibly closed-mindedness and stiff thinking.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get myself comfortable on my ear roll. But
Yeah.
yes. Disciple is another thing that is for me a follower.
Yes.
So it's following a track rather than being with. So instead of being with a thing, you are following it. So you're forever chasing it. You're not there yet. You
Yeah, you
are.
are like here. I found a definition: a follower or student of a thing. Right.
Yes.
Like, so you are a student of death. You are practicing. Like, this is one of the things that one of the quotes that I have said. Like, are you aware of that which you are practicing? Are you practicing to be the person you want to be, or are you practicing death? Wow.
Yeah.
Thus, whoever
I
is
know.
stiff and inflexible is someone who practices death.
Yeah. Pretty harsh, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like what? Yeah. But like, and whoever
Think
is soft
about
and
what you.
yielding. And this isn't about
Yeah.
your skin. This isn't about your bones. This is about your mind and your life.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It's deep.
Yeah. And
It's
like
not
the
about the
resistance,
physical. Yeah.
like when we look at the resistance your daughter kind of gave to you, like that's stiff and inflexible. And then you were able
Yeah.
to be soft and yielding, allowing her then to follow, to then become a disciple of life.
Yeah. By example.
Right.
Yeah. Don't create it. Don't be a creator of the rigidity. Don't be a follower of the rigidity either, because that's what I needed to think about and stop in my space and think, the rigidity or the reaction or the strength or whatever way you want to see it. If I followed that route, I am enhancing it. I'm magnifying that instead of just letting it be, thinking about it and coming from a better angle, a more relaxed angle, a more open view,
Yeah.
you know. that really did work. It really did work
And
amazingly,
yeah,
even astoundingly. To
right.
me, it was a massive shock. It's like, wow, wow, just that second of just being open, it made such a difference.
Just
Just
being soft. Just
yeah,
coming in and being soft, not having to defend yourself,
yeah,
which is also something we talked about today.
yeah,
So beautiful.
yeah,
So, and this ends, as I read already, the hard and the stiff will be broken. The soft and supple will prevail.
yeah,
Mm.
which is great.
Well, yeah, it sure is. I'm gonna switch over to the next person because this Don Pope has been sitting for a minute, and I want to bring
Lovely, absolutely lovely.
and I want
Thanks
you to
so
get better.
much.
I'll be in touch on WhatsApp, checking in on you.
Yeah, it's getting there. I'm chilling and I'm doing, I'm giving the love to my ear.
Good, good. You do a lot of listening, so it might be your body also telling you, hey, we need to listen to yourself sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Close out the
You know?
outside noise and listen
Yeah,
in.
and
Yeah.
even that outside noise includes my voice. Like I
Yes,
just want
Martin.
like I want you to know that within you I exist, because if I didn't, you wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
this might be your body telling you to look inside.
Okay, I'm going for that. I'm going for
All
that.
right.
Yeah.
We'll be
Take
in touch,
care.
love.
Speak.
Okay, we're finally bringing in Don Pope. Don, you're an artist. I'm an artist. I have a whole history with that. How you doing, brother? Are you
Um,
with me? Oh, yes, you
I
are.
only heard I'm an artist. I have a whole history.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Like yeah. No, yeah. It breaks up right before you come on. Yeah. No, I have a 20-year art career and stuff. So I just
That's
I'm in the
amazing.
healing world now, and I brought my art into that. So I still make art, but it's not. I'm making art as a mode to healing. So I'd love to connect.
I love that. Yes, I agree that art is just the way that we can connect with ourselves and with others. And as you've said, everything that we speak for someone, everything that we see in someone else is a part of us. And that's
Hmm.
why I think art is such an amazing medium. And I loved that I did have to have so much patience for this because I loved everything that was said today. All these were absolutely amazing, and I got so much light from that. Honestly, if I was before now, I'd be a little bit more anxious, I think. So thank you. Um,
Well, I'm glad. Yeah,
I,
I'm glad you stuck around. It was beautiful. Like I saw you there, and I was just like, oh, this big. But nope, nope, nope. And like you just had so many people ahead of you, and I was like, usually people drop off after a while. So I'm really grateful for your patience.
Thank you, of course. It's definitely something that I've been learning recently, and I've had more patience for myself. But I feel like it's probably better if I listen. So the number concept, is it just me thinking of a number and then me saying what it is with the Tao or Tao?
Yeah, yeah. Give me a number.
Okay, I had 74 go in my head. I know it's really close to Julie's. And by the way, Julie, like the conversation you guys had with the soft compared to stiff, I'm trying to overanalyze and start communicating on everything, but maybe I should just get to this.
Yeah, well, we can always cover 76 together sometime. So
Okay,
74. So what I'll do, like you've probably kind of caught on, I'll read the whole thing. I'll get your kind of initial thoughts, and then we'll go through it line by line and see what we have.
that sounds amazing. I'm so excited.
Okay, if you realize that all things change, there is nothing you will try to hold on to. If you aren't
Mm,
afraid of dying, there is nothing you can't achieve. Trying to
mm,
control the future is like trying to take the master carpenter's place. When you handle the master carpenter's tools, chances are you'll cut your hand.
mm. Wow.
Thoughts? See, as an
Yeah.
artist, I think this one is really special for you.
Um, so I have to center myself real quick.
Hmm.
Um, Sorry, can you read it one more time? I
Yep,
think I got distracted.
Yeah. If you realize that all things change, there is nothing you will try to hold on to. If you aren't afraid of dying, there is nothing you can't achieve. Trying to control the future is like trying to take the master carpenter's place. When you handle the master carpenter's tools, chances are you'll cut your hand.
All things are temporary. That is stated in the Buddhism mantra. I recently have been listening to Alan Watts and his concept on Buddhism, or at
Mm-hmm.
least portrayal of it. And I realized that if we are holding on to anything, typically we're not letting anything else get in that space. And there might be other ways, and there definitely is other ways that we can adjust and improve. And if we are settling for the same thing, let's
I'm
say
getting a lot of like sound. I don't know what
oh,
that
give me
is. I
one
just
second. I'm gonna switch to headphones.
Okay,
That's
cool.
probably the plan.
Yeah, whatever that is, that was a lot of that's a lot of noise. And it's cool. Like I usually sit through it, but I'm like, I think we can end this. Like I don't think we need that.
My bad. Is that
No,
better?
all good. Yeah, beautiful.
Okay, cool. So what I was saying is that the concept of Buddhism, or at least one part of it, is to not let go, because if you do that, you're not getting nirvana, which is blowing out.
Mm-hmm.
If you are just breathing in, eventually you will run out of air. You won't be able to hold anymore.
Yeah, you run out of space, right?
You run out of space. And there's lots of times where we believe we have expectations for ourselves, and then we guard and hold on to those expectations, and we'll destroy ourselves in the process of trying to get to that level. But what we need to do is be soft and love ourselves, not because of what that is, but love ourselves because we can choose to dream still, because we can choose to see that light in ourselves, and not let ourselves get knocked down by whatever form of failure, if we want to call it that. But honestly, failure is just a stepping stone to the greater part. I believe that every song that I write is just one page of the song that I'm going to have, what it's meant for. They're all just stepping stones to get to the next level. And even with our conversations, all these things are just there to get us back to the source, to get us back to the connection that we can relate with others.
Yeah.
And I have let my light be categorized as not there. I didn't explain that very well.
No,
but
you didn't.
I'm aware. What I mean is,
It's just like, why would you let your light be categorized? Right?
Yeah. I believed that I had very low self-worth.
Yeah.
And I was doing actions that didn't. I wasn't doing any actions. And I was trying to do actions while still believing that my worth is low, so nothing that I do will work, but I was still doing it. And I got very, very sad about that.
Yeah.
Very depressed. But now I'm realizing, what if this doesn't happen? That's okay, because I will navigate and be in a better place than what this is in my head. Because yes, God, the universe, it all has a plan for me. As long as I choose to keep loving myself, living through love, and seeing everything else through love, there is no big obstacle. And time is only as fast as you can dream it.
You know, this is like everything you're saying is great as we enter this kind of second part of this, which is trying to control the future is like trying to take the master carpenter's place, right? Like you're gonna cut your hand, right? Like so that's a beautiful kind of sentiment. So let's start going through this, like that first line, which is, if you realize that all things change, there is nothing you will try to hold on to. So how does that resonate with what you're talking about? I mean, I know it resonates with all of it, but how does it resonate with you at the moment?
I recently lost my job because I had stood up for myself. And I mean, we can say there's other reasons for that, right? But that was the main thing that happened in my heart that made this change.
All right, that's an important thing to recognize.
Yes. I was proud of myself because I usually shirked because I didn't believe that there was worth there and there wasn't an opportunity. But now I'm letting go of this job that also I had been complaining about previously. I had not been feeling like it was connecting me to where I wanted to be. And I was just doing it out of comfort, out of safety. So everything changing means that it's not great to be comfortable. It's great to be constantly changing and adjusting your environment to where your new heights are going. But if you don't believe in any of that, you're not growing. You're not choosing to grow.
Right.
You're only growing in trepidation over what could be.
Yeah,
So,
and you're just holding on. You're holding on
yeah,
to
you're
things that
holding
are
on.
going to change.
So, I'm deciding to apply for some studio jobs and keep going until I find one, or an
There you
acting
go.
job and all those other
Or
things.
just like you're gonna take an action and something is going to happen and you are right here. You don't even have to
Exactly.
have a plan. I mean, you do, so that's great. But um, if that wasn't the case, it wouldn't mean you were any less present in this moment.
Ah, I see. Yes. Also, I think sitting with myself, I still haven't done that recently. And I'm going to be journaling again. I'm choosing to do all the actions that will get my artistic life and my life in general closer to me. Those things that I just didn't think mattered because there was no content.
Right.
So all of that will reach into my purpose, and all of that will only make my opportunities bigger. And I'm
Yeah.
excited to know who I am because I stopped wanting
Yes.
to.
Oh, that's such a beautiful, like I host the podcast Recover Yourself. I talk all about this idea of recovering yourself because it's not about like the way I see it, it's like you are you always. But like it's covered in and it's covered up by all of this stuff that we live under the influence of. We live under the
Yeah.
influence of our parents and our jobs and our identities and all of these things. And it's like when we can recognize that all things change, we won't want to hold on to any of that, and then we can just be who we are.
And we also choose to remember the choices that we make and see what really makes our reactions us.
Right.
Because when we disassociate, when we are living in a place of death, when we're in that place of nothing will change,
Oh,
then we're not choosing to see that our choices do have value. And then
that's
we
right.
say we don't know ourselves, and then we choose to say that we aren't ourselves, or we want
Right.
to be someone else because we admire what their current looks like. But comparing anyone is just the absolute death of anything that involves creativity.
It's interesting. This next line is, if you aren't afraid of dying, there is nothing you can't achieve.
Because
And I
uh,
think when we start looking at comparisons and stuff, we immediately start looking at competition, right? And
I
competition
agree.
is that like I need to survive at its core.
Wow, yeah, you're right.
So when we can lose the fear of dying and we can be here present without death, then we won't compete because we can allow other people to be and do what they do without our feeling like we're in competition.
Whew. Whew. Almost had a tear come. That's so beautiful. Wow. Yeah, you're right. And I'd been competing for quite a while, but not actually in the fight or not actually in the race. Um,
But in your mind.
in my mind. Oh,
Yeah.
100% in my mind all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And because I was needing to get a physical response or a visual one, I
Or a response at all.
or a response at all.
Yeah.
I stayed away from all forms of social media and all forms of performing because I was in my head.
Yeah.
And now I'm excited because I can pick up from less time. And I did gain experience from that and knowledge.
Yep.
And I'm excited to just share that now.
Yeah,
Supple.
all of those things are so important. It's so important for us to recognize when we're hiding and when we're not being present, and you know, when we're afraid of dying. Like really, like that's what this so much comes down to. That trying to control the future is trying to take the master carpenter's place. When you handle the master carpenter's tools, chances are you'll cut your hand.
And we all are temporary.
Yes.
So that also means we don't need to believe this is the end or anything of the sort. Just we're here for as long as our journey allows. So we're going to make the choices we want to get it better if that's what we can see.
And
You'll
that's the direction we move in. And if we try to
Yeah.
control that,
Yeah.
once we try to control that which we, are experiencing, that's when we're going to cut our hand. And that just means
Mm.
that, we're going to be laid up for a little while.
Hmm.
Illness, like
I
I
see.
feel like the pandemic is like a global experience of this. We've cut our hand, and now
100%.
we have to wait. We have to be patient. We have to go through this now.
Yep. I see. And when we're trying to create or judge what our direction is from a place that isn't of love, which is the master's concept, because the master of the universe is love.
That's right. And they
Um,
have, and it, like, there is a path. Now, do I want to play my role, or do I want to play my concept of my role?
mm,
Like, my role is part of the whole, but my concept is me as an ego.
yes. And my role is us still.
I want you to land that plane. I do have somebody on the queue, but if you come back on within the next 3 seconds, 4 seconds, Don, like, I'll bring you back up just so you can land that for us, and then I'll get on to Frankie. Frankie, just wait. We'll be done in less than a minute. I just wanna get Don to finish that up. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. Everything that's from love is is still from the carpenter. And if we cannot have our egos in the way, if we cannot be holding, give me 1 second. I think my headphones switched to a thing. Or can you hear me fine?
I can hear you fine. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. The carpenter's hand is full of love and compassion, and if we don't have that, then we are in this lifeless place of ego. If we need to hold so hard to what we conceptualize as our goal and our plan without really reaching out to who we are in the world and who the world sees for us. The universe will tell us what to do when we're going in the steps of love, and we'll get shown what not to do. We'll see it when we start noticing who we are inside.
I like to see this really kind of clearly as, like, if we are the wood, and um like, and the master carpenter has our best interest in heart, right? Because we are going to make a functional thing, and that functional thing is our own consciousness. Our consciousness is the function of our experience, right? Of our life. Like, that is why we have life, is so that we can experience things, and so we can contribute to consciousness. And so, you know, if if we had our own way of doing it, like, are we going to cut ourselves to the perfect shape and the perfect size so that we can have a tongue and groove joint with another person? Like, because that's what this is, us being here naturally, holding on to our patience, and presenting our gifts, and being here to present and to learn and to teach and to just be inspirational as we both are. Like that is us being guided by the hand of the carpenter, not by us trying to cut ourselves in a way that doesn't work with everybody else. Because I don't know you and I can't know you. But when I allow myself to be shaped by the master carpenter, my my tongue fits in your groove, like, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it was
Oh,
spoken quite eloquently. Yes, once we can get out of our way, or what we perceive as a way, and just be and accept that we can help each other. We are all here to help each other. That's what love is. And the only reason we're choosing not to is typically because we're afraid of getting hurt. But also, if there's an overarching, encompassing amount of love in this world, then we can't really be hurt because nothing is
because if
permanent.
you aren't afraid of dying, there's nothing you can't achieve.
And you can get hurt. Well, you can't get hurt, but
And hurt is fine. Yeah,
can
but
be
when you're afraid of getting hurt because you're in competition,